Wisconsin's newly approved reinsurance program just got a whole lot more expensive. This is what we're calling the 1332 Innovation Waiver to set up a state reinsurance plan. This came out of the last administration and last legislature. They asked federal permission to create a healthcare stability plan, a reinsurance program that they thought would cost about $200 million a year. The state's share of that was $34 million. The rest was supposed to come from the federal government. About $166 million from the federal government to help cover some of those really expensive insurance bills for individuals. This would be a way to offset some of that cost and bring costs down. Now, this plan is to be administered by the Office of the Commissioner of Insurance. They would be the ones that work out the attachment points, how much would be reimbursed to insurance companies, and how premiums could then be stabilized for some of those high-cost individuals. The former insurance commissioner said, well, will cost savings actually be passed on to consumers? And he said, we're just going to let the rate review process take care of that, which was kind of a bit of a concern. But we have a new insurance commissioner now, so it's now on the table before the new insurance commissioner of how this is going to work. Now, the funding mechanism is what made this kind of curious. This is different than the way other states do this. A large amount of that state money is to come from Medicaid lapse, money not spent by the Medicaid program that resorts to the General Purpose Revenue Fund, GPR. That's what's going to fund the $34+ million that the state needs to contribute to make reinsurance work. So you're taking leftover Medicaid money and you're giving it to private insurance individuals. That's where we were when the administration changed. The concerns that we had at that time was that the state could create Medicaid surplus to keep coming up with more money to fund the state share if they needed to. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to deny services to Medicaid recipients. And you can look no further than the work requirements or premium requirements that the waiver that Wisconsin asked for, a Section 1115 demonstration waiver, wanted to implement to create Medicaid surplus to then fund private insurance enrollees. So this was the concern at the end of 2018. And perhaps it's already too late to correct where we're going because there have been two announcements. The first one came out of the feds, and this came right away in January, that said, we're not going to give you the $166 million. We're going to give you $127.7 million of federal money, which is tens of millions of dollars short of what the Wisconsin last administration thought they'd be getting, which more than doubles Wisconsin's share of what they have to come up with to make reinsurance work. So the state of Wisconsin is no longer on the hook for $38-ish million. They're now on the hook for $72.3 million to make reinsurance work, more than double the estimate. And the state's expanded share may emerge out of the surplus of the Medicaid program. And that timing is curious because at the end of 2018, outgoing Department of Health Services Secretary Linda Seemeyer said, guess what? We have a $212 million surplus in our Medicaid budget. Use it as you want. That's the amount that's going to divert to GPR, and you can use that any way you want. So that's where we were left. We have a new insurance commissioner, Mark Affable. We have a new Department of Health Services Secretary. As they start working through the new reinsurance program with these two realities, the amount of Medicaid money left, potentially from denying services to individual, and the amount of money the state has to come up with to cover reinsurance because the feds aren't going to pay. With those two realities, these new people will have to keep us updated of how this is going to work. We expect that they will. This won't be the last that we hear about reinsurance coming out of the Commissioner of Insurance office. So we will keep you posted as we learn more. We're going to share a couple links with you in the description below. The first is that letter from CMS saying you're not going to get the money you thought you were going to get. And the second is the letter from the Department of Health Services on that Medicaid surplus. Again, from the last administration. If you have questions, you can send us an email or you can visit us at healthwatchwisconsin.org.